Determining your prospect's personality, how to present to and close the 4 personality types. I absolutely love doing this seminar because the information that I'm going to give you today on how to actually identify the 4 personalities and how to use those 4 personalities to sell. I can't tell you the hundreds of thousands of dollars that being able to read the personality of my prospect it has made for me. It's just incredible once you can get a read on who you're dealing with and to actually adjust your selling style, your negotiating style, your bonding style to the person that you're either talking to on the phone or that you're meeting in person. This one seminar alone will absolutely increase your income 10, 20, even 30% almost immediately. In talking about personalities, I want to caution you, sometimes people get so enamored with this idea of the personalities that they think that it's the key to selling. They think that once I know the personalities, then, I've seen people go into in-depth study on this subject. It's a great subject, but I want you to be clear that it's a portion of your entire sales skills. Learning personality should not be your entire sales skill set. It's a portion of it. It's a small piece of it. Perhaps it's a 10 or 15% piece. And I've seen people, take 12-hour courses on this and keep researching it and learning about the personalities. And I just want to caution you not to go overboard. Learning, I've seen people do whole selling systems of, weekend courses on personalities. I think that's overkill. But I do agree that if you can get a read on your prospect's personality and you can adjust your selling style to that personality, you'll be able to close the sale more effectively, quicker, and also get higher margins, and also make the sale stick and stay and avoid cancellations if you can read your prospect's personality. So it's a very valuable skill to have. Again, just don't make it the be-all and end-all of all of your sales training. A little background on personalities. Personality profiling was basically invented, if you will, by Hippocrates. And the father of modern medicine, Hippocrates, noticed in the treating of his patients, which you can imagine was a much more if you will, holistic approach. It was before the advent of prescription medicine. Hippocrates would notice that when he was treating his patients, that his patients fell into 4 distinct personality types. And he actually came up with names for those. And then over, hundreds, thousands of years, different people have taken this idea of the 4 temperaments or the 4 personalities, and they put them into a number of different systems, and kind of they're kind of eerily very exact, or how can I say it? It's amazing how the different personality systems can actually identify people, and people will say, yes, that's me, that's exactly who I am, or that's mostly who I am. And these systems have been used by different systems. You'll hear personality profiling. You'll hear people use colors, the color system, the star system. The TTI system. You'll hear all different types of the Myers-Briggs system, so on and so forth. Basically, take these 4 personalities and segment them or identify them or label them. One of the problems that I've had with these systems is they tend to be complicated, and that's why I've kind of Durkinized all of the systems that I've seen over the years and brought it into the determining your prospect's personality system. And one of the real differences in my system is that it's going to teach you how to sell to them. Many times, these are interesting exercises. We get excited about labeling our family or our friends, or you'll hear me talk about something. You say, "Oh, that's exactly like my spouse or my child child, or my good friend is exactly like that. I know exactly who you're talking about. And it becomes an exercise in fun, if you will, and it's interesting. But the real key is, how does it help us to sell? How does it help us to actually close the deal? That's the focus of this program. Now, you'll see in the training center, you'll see that there are two presentations that you can download, and one will say the worksheets 1, 2, and 3. So as you get ready, you can see that worksheet number 1 is up. And what I'd like you to do is make sure that you go to worksheet number 1, actually download all 3 of them and print them out, because the worksheet that you're looking at right here is designed to be a working note-taking thing for you, so that you can actually take notes and go along with the slides that I'm going to present to you in the next video. So as you're looking at worksheet number 1, this blank worksheet, and you see that we have 4 quadrants, and you see that we have the dominator in the right-hand quadrant. In the lower right hand, we have expressive. Over to the left, lower, we have relator, and then to the upper left, we have the detailer. These are the 4 personalities that you're going to be identifying, first of all, in yourself. Secondly, to get a feel for it, you'll identify people that are close to you, people that you know well, and then we'll then take that information and show you how to actually identify people that you don't know well, identify them quickly, and then again, learn how to adjust your selling style to that particular personality. Let's look in the upper right-hand quadrant, first of all, where it says dominator. Now, and as an overall, let me make an overall statement here before we start this. I want you initially to see if you can identify where you predominantly fall in these 4 quadrants. Now, this is not an exact science. I'm not having you take an extensive personality profile, and sometimes I even wonder about those profiles if they're accurate. But I do want you to understand that because you're a human being, you will have many of the attributes that are in all 4 quadrants. You may say to me, well, I have this one, I have some of this one, some of that one, a little more in this one, a little less in this one. What we're trying to do right now, what I want you to do, is to simply identify for you where you have a dominance in attributes, so that you can say that you are, if we were to look at a middle line, you know, that which was the midline or the midpoint, that you're above the midpoint, and actually the one personality where you would say it has the most dominance is the highest one above the median. We want to identify that for you, which is your predominant one. Now, you might have one that's right, below that personality, and then another one that's below that one, and another one that's below that one. You might even say to me, well, I seem to be very equal on all 4. That's very, very rare. And I'll tell you a little bit about my personality setup and where I fall in the 4 quadrants to help you, because many of you know me, so you'll get a feel for my personality and how it fits in the quadrants. But the key here is that we're looking for the personality that you're most like, or that you're most dominant, or you will display, or the one that is that kind of tops the other 3. You're going to be looking to see if you can figure out which one is the one that fits you the best and is the most dominant one. Now, if you look on the right-hand side of the worksheet, on the upper right-hand side, you'll see where it says, well, actually, you know what? Let's look at the whole the right-hand side of the chart, and let's look at talkative. Now, you'll see that the dominators have talkative, and the expressives, no kidding, have talkative. Now, I want you to, if you think that you are a person who is talkative, a person who is outgoing, a person who naturally expresses themselves and feels it very naturally to be talkative, as opposed to introverted, as opposed to someone who's shy, as opposed to someone who is, in this chart, is quiet, I want you to just make a check mark maybe on the right-hand side of the sheet, focusing on the fact that we're on the talkative side right now. So if you think you're more talkative, I want you to go on the right-hand side. Just put a little check mark there on the right-hand side of the worksheet. Now, if you go over to the left side of the worksheet, you'll notice that the detailer and the relator have the words quiet next to them. If you tend to be those words that I just described, you tend to be more introverted. You tend to keep your thoughts to yourself. You don't necessarily like to speak. If someone asked you to give you a speech, or if they invited you to come to a party and they said that you would know no one there, you would have to meet all brand new people at the party, you might say to yourself, well, I fit a little more on the left-hand side of this quadrant. I'm a little more on the quiet side. If you are, put a check mark somewhere for yourself on the left-hand side of the quadrant. So you should have determined for yourself whether you see yourself and feel yourself to be a more on the left-hand side, a little more quiet, introverted, shy, or more on the right-hand side, more talkative, expressive, more interested in talking, communication, not afraid of speeches. For you, on the right-hand side, if we invited you to a party, you would be, and we said, you'll know no one at the party. It'll be all new people. You have to meet all new people. That would probably mean you'd probably say, I'm okay with that. That sounds fine. I'd like to meet some new people, talk to some new people. So you're on the right-hand side of the chart. Now, let's look at the top half of the quadrants. Let's look at the top half where we have the detailer and the dominant. You'll notice that we have organized, the word organized. So the word organized, if you're going to be on the top quadrant, obviously people that are organized, they know it. You can think of the way your office looks or your desk, or a good way to figure out if you're organized or not. Let's go behind the surface a little bit, and let's imagine that we were to open the trunk of your car. Would we see your flares on the left-hand side? Your spare tire is all checked and blown up and everything's great. Your emergency kit is there. You've got maybe an emergency change of clothes, a box with different things in it. You probably have boxes, or if you're a salesperson on the road, you've got file boxes. And if I looked in the trunk of your car, it would be very neat and orderly. Your desk could be the same way. Desks and offices are another good reflection, many cases, of whether you're organized or not. If I'd look in your trunk and it would be very organized with boxes and compartments with your things in it, you know exactly where it is, you would fit on the top side of the quadrant, and I'd like you to put a check mark at the top somewhere, just indicating that you're more in the top side of the chart. Now, if we go down to the lower half of the four quadrants and we look at the relator and the expressive, you'll notice the words unorganized. Now, unorganized, again, you know that your desk has piles on the desk. It has piles on the floor. And let's go into your secret life. Let's look in the trunk of your car. If we open the trunk of your car, there are no compartments. There's no emergency kit. The spare tire is only half inflated. You can't find the jack, and you've got old socks, old water bottles, garbage. If that's what your trunk looks like, then you're going to put a check mark on the lower half of the chart where it says unorganized. And you're going to say, well, I'm more on that lower half than I am on the upper half. Usually these expressions or these labels can identify you pretty quickly, and you can start to see where you fall the most. So looking at your check marks, let's go around. Now, let's go to the right-hand quadrant and look at the dominator. And if you marked off that you were talkative, more extroverted, and your trunk and or your desk was clear and in compartments, and you know where everything is, then if you're extroverted, talk more interested in talking, available, how can I say it? You have the ability to talk, like to talk, will talk if asked, and you're very organized, I want you to circle the dominator, because what we've just found for you is that your dominant characteristic is that you're talkative and you're organized, and you probably fit into the dominator. Now, as we go through the quadrants, you may find yourself changing your opinion, but right now we want to get a baseline. So if you feel that you're talkative and organized, I want you to circle dominator. Go down to the right-hand quadrant, go to expressive. If you look at expressive, you'll see talkative and unorganized. So again, you know that you like to talk, you're a good talker, you easily express yourself, you're extroverted. And also, when you look in the trunk of your car, there's everything in it but Jimmy Hoffa. It's full of stuff with no compartments, no organization. Your desk is messy. Your bureau is messy. I happen to be an expressive and understand the whole unorganized thing. By the way, these labels are neither good nor bad. They're just what they are. And if you can admit who you are, it'll be helpful to you in this exercise. If you like to talk and organization isn't your best thing, is that a gentle way to say it? If organization isn't your best thing, then circle expressive and look at that as potentially right now that you are predominantly an expressive. If you move over to the left-hand side, the lower left-hand quadrant, you'll see the relator. The relator is quiet. The relator is someone who is a little more introverted, is not that interested in talking if they don't have to. Usually are not was not the kid in class who would raise their hand and go, ooh, 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 ooh. Let me answer the question, teacher. A person who's quiet is more comfortable with their own thoughts, doesn't need to speak, in many cases doesn't like to speak, and is not their natural tendency to tell a lot of stories and be in the limelight and blah, 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 blah. The relator, however, also tends to be a little more on the unorganized side, usually not as unorganized as the expressive, but details, while they could be important to you, are not. It's not like really super important to you. You're probably fairly orderly. You're not as messy as the expressive, but there is. Let's put it this way. Being organized is not the purpose of your life. If some things are out of place, you're okay with it. You might have occasionally you'll have piles on your desk. Occasionally your trunk will be in disarray. Usually relators will get stuff cleaned up pretty well, and then they'll fall back if they're busy. It's not a huge mess for them, but they do tend to be a little more on the unorganized side. If you're quiet, shy, introverted, and an order and organization is not of paramount importance to you, like if something's out of place, you're okay with it, then I want you to circle relator. Just put a circle around the word relator. Go up to the left-hand quadrant to detailer. You'll notice that detailers are quiet also. They don't tend to be big extroverts or like to talk as their primary thing. And they're also highly, highly organized. Detailers, if something was out of place for a detailer, it would freak them out. If there was an error in balancing the checkbook, if it was 2 cents off, that would drive you crazy. Things out of order, piles, messes usually will frustrate you or disturb you. And you need things to really be in place and to be perfect. And that's fine. Again, there's no label here. I just want you to identify who you are. But remember, who you are is who you are, and that's okay. And the better that we can get a read on who you are, and you can understand who you are, then you'll be able to have a better chance to read who other people are. So if you're more on the quiet side and you tend to be more severely organized, organization is very important to you. And if something was out of place, it would bother you. Then I want you to circle the detailer on the left-hand side of the quadrant. Now, again, as we go along with this presentation, as we come off of this, as we work with this worksheet and we give you more details here, you're going to find, you may find, as I give you more details about the personalities, that you want to shift your idea of. You may have circled that you're a dominator, but as I talk more, you might say, well, actually, I'm more like the expressive. And it's okay to change as we go through this presentation. Again, the goal of this presentation initially is to get you to identify the predominant personality that you have, the one that is most dominant. Keep it in mind, it could be followed by a close second or third, usually not a fourth. Most people are not all four personalities at the median, but occasionally that happens. but we're looking for the one that you would say, I'm most like this one. So hopefully what we've done is we've identified who you are, and we're going to use that information in this worksheet. Keep this worksheet out as we get ready to go to the next video and to discuss more about the details of each one of these personalities. See you in the next video.